So far, I've given a couple of rebuttals to common objections of the dietary commands using the Old Testament. Now, time to focus on the New Testament. Up there, along with Peter's dream, is the story of the unwashed hands that individuals may use to say that the dietary commands are done away with. This story appears in Matthew chapter 15, verses 1 to 20, and Mark chapter 7, verses 1 to 23. For those who don't know, the event starts with religious leaders at the time, the Pharisees, criticizing Jesus' disciples for eating food with unwashed hands. When asked why doesn't his disciples follow the traditions of the elders, Jesus responds with quoting Isaiah, "This people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me, and in vain do they worship me, teaching as the doctrines the commandments of men." Accusing the Pharisees of neglecting the commandment of God, you hold to the tradition of men. Now, what were the commandments of God? Obviously, the Torah, as Jesus quotes how Moses said, "Honor your father and mother, and the one who speaks evil of father or mother is certainly to be put to death." But states the Pharisees would say, if a person says to his father or mother, "Whatever I have that will help you is Corban," that is given to God, you no longer allow him to do anything for his father or his mother. Just right there, he equated the word of God with the Torah as it was given to Moses. Eventually, he would tell the crowd that there is nothing outside the person which can defile him if it goes into him, but the things which come out of the person are what defile the person. And even later, when his disciples asked him about the parable, he doubles down asking them, "Are you so lacking in understanding as well? Do you not understand that whatever goes into the person from outside cannot defile him, because it does not go into his heart, but into his stomach and is eliminated? Thereby, he declared all foods clean." Also stating how what comes out of a person's heart defiles them: evil thoughts, wickedness, deceit, indecent behavior, envy, slander, pride, and foolishness. Now, there are two phrases some individuals would say that supported their idea that the dietary laws are done away with: verse 15 and verse 19. But there are a lot of big issues with that interpretation. Firstly, you must remember this whole interaction dealt with hand washing. This wasn't a command in the law, but a Pharisaic tradition. Yes, in Exodus chapter 30, verses 17 to 21, the priests are tasked with washing their hands and feet when approaching the altar to minister by offering a smoked sacrifice, but not for the people before they eat their food. As Jesus stated, this was a Pharisaic tradition, i.e., a tradition of men, not a commandment of God. Barakah 53b. "And you shall sanctify yourselves. These are the first waters with which one washes his hands before the meal, and you shall be holy. These are the final waters for holy. This is oil which one spreads on his hands. Am I, the Lord your God?" This is the grace after meals blessing. Secondly, and probably the most important part, Mark chapter 7, verse 19. A lot of newer Bible translations have added the phrase, "Thus he declared," while a lot of older and literal translations, along with the Greek, reads more like just purifying all food. So more in line with verse 19, it reads, "Because it entered not into his heart, but into his belly, and goeth out into the drought, purging all meats." This phrasing has nothing to do with Jesus going away with the dietary laws, or even declaring all unclean food are now clean. It seems more in line with the elimination process of food, because that's what it does in the body. It seems Jesus is telling the Pharisees, even if you eat food with unwashed hands, it's still purified or cleansed in the stomach. Those unwashed hands mean nothing in that sense. Thirdly, you have to ask yourself, what did Jesus, Pharisees, disciples, and others understood as food? I live in America, and most people, including myself, don't consider skunk as food. So if someone asks what type of food I want to eat, skunk will never cross our mind, as both of us would never consider skunk to be the category of food. For the people at the time, they'll be following the biblical dietary laws. They would not consider unclean animals like pork or shellfish as food. I mean, Acts chapter 10 explains how even Peter stated he never eaten anything unholy and unclean. Fourthly, and we're still going on, even if Jesus was trying to say all unclean foods are clean now, you would have to ask, why didn't anyone rebuke him for that? Out of all the things the Pharisees tried to get him on, they never considered to accuse Jesus of breaking the dietary laws. And lastly, even if you want to take Mark the 7th verse 15 to saying technically eating pork comes from the outside and will be included here, ask yourself this: if God stated don't eat X, and you eat X, citing verse 15, is that a heart issue or a stomach issue? I hope you see it as a heart issue. Disobedient. Imagine being in the garden, seeing Adam saying, well, what enters me doesn't defile me. It's not sin. He still disobeyed God. Overall, this story doesn't state that Jesus went away with the dietary laws, but rather going against the man-made traditions as they neglected the commandments of God. You know, like some saying the believers can't eat pork. If you want to see the simple argument to why believers shouldn't eat pork, click here.